Hello everybody and welcome, I'm Son of Mogeth, and I'm playing Scrap Mechanic Creative. Yeah, there was an update to this recently, and I've been messing about with it quite a lot. Mainly the creative mode stuff. I'll get into the survival mode updates and changes in Two Video Tuesdays, Tuesday Video 2 Tuesday. So yeah, one of the updates in the survival mode was that they've added oil ponds specifically. So now you can essentially just get infinite gasoline for your machines. And I thought maybe it's a good time to build something that flies. And these are the three things that I was just messing about with. Like, this is the first just me testing out thrusters and how they work, because I don't really use them. I've never really used them at all, and this might be the worst thing ever created in Scrap Mechanic. I mean, like, it sort of goes up, and it also does that, and not a lot else. That's about as good as it gets. So I was like, right, that's how thrusters work. Let's build something that flies, which is this thing. Oh, it doesn't fly very fast apparently, but it does turn, wee, like that, and it does go forwards. But yeah, this one works much better. But if you notice on the back there, it's got a couple of suspensions on there for a suspension glitch. Ow, ow, and I don't like that. I don't really want to use like glitches if I can avoid it. So that's just probably a starter version I'll make in survival. Then the third iteration of my flying machine is one that stabilizes itself with a gyroscope in the middle. And it's not finished. It definitely needs work. It is nowhere near the kind of usability that I want out of it. So with that spin in the middle, it should stay level, depending on, independent, I should say, of what the actual flyer is doing. So if I do this, look, it self-adjusts, but it's you can see it's not really particularly awesome. It's like, oh god, oh no, ow, ow. Yeah, it needs work. So what I was doing was I was thinking, can I save fuel on my flying machine so I have to go to the oil pond slightly less by pulsing the thrusters instead of having them always on when I push the button. Whee! Backflip! Oh, a backflip and a 180. Go me. Yeah, I was thinking, if I pulse them on and off, will it save fuel? So I just made this little test rig. This is like a 4-tick pulse, and that's a 3-tick pulse. It's not exactly how it works. It's just tick circuits that I, have made in the past. So if I throw some fuel in here, which we can do now in Creative and couldn't previously, I'll just give every one of these the same amount of fuel and turn them on. Look at that. You can see, this one's always on. It's got a cone. This one's regular, quite fast on and off. And this one's slightly slower on and off. But the flame from that one and that one are different. You can actually see the difference in them. If you look at the gas containers at the bottom, the red blocky things, you can see that the one on the far right that's always on is actually using fuel a lot faster than the other ones. Look, it's already off. And these two are still going. It seems on the face of it that it's quite, it's worth it to pulse your thrusters. I mean, they're still going. They're literally still going. So you think, oh yeah, that saves fuel, but how does that affect the thrust Like, can you get a similar amount of thrust pulsing them like this as you can to having it... There you go. They both went off at the same time as well, which I think is interesting. Since this one's on slightly less than this one, but I don't think it's enough to make a difference because they go off at the same time. They run out of fuel, I should say, at the same time. But again, I was wondering, how does that affect the thrust? So I made this, and the idea is, if the thrust is different, the suspension will compress differently, correct? So let's go and have a look at that. This is not a definitive test. None of the things that I'm doing here to test this are definitive in any way, shape or form, but it's just how I'm trying to, you know, sort it out in my head about how these things work, get a better idea. So if I go... Oh, this setup, by the way, is exactly the same as this one. I just copied this and put it down over here and added some pistons, so it's exactly the same. If I do this, look, it's actually really interesting. If I build, like, a thing here, look, you can see that these two are the same as each other, but this one's definitely compressed the suspension down further. By, I mean, it's not a lot. Like, these are bouncing up and down like you would expect them to do if they're going on and off. But again, the one that was always on has run out first. These are still going, and they will do for quite some time. Quite some time. Quite a long time. But they will also both run out of fuel at the same time as well. You just wait for that to happen. You'll see that they'll just stop. Boosh. They both run out of fuel at exactly the same time. So it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference how you pulse them. It just saves quite a lot of fuel, actually, that you do pulse them. And again, I'm sure there's a better way of doing these so you get a different effect out of them, but this is just like rudimentary me throwing things on the floor and seeing how it goes. This isn't a great way of testing this, I decided after I made it. So I built this. This is my flight time test rig. If you can in fact believe that. And what I've done is these should be all the same weight. Like, this one is not going to be pulsed at all. It has 3 logic gates and a bit of wood up there just to keep it the same weight as these. Like, this one will be pulsed with the same system as this, and it's got a bit of wood to make up the weight. This one's going to be pulsed the same as this one and doesn't have a bit of wood because logic gates are the same weight as these bits of wood. This one is just me messing about. What I did is I hooked these up to a circuit with a timer on it, so it goes on and off even more than these lot. And I tried to get a balance between it being sustained flight and fuel economy, so it does bob up and down, as you'll see in a minute, like these ones do. Let me just make sure these are all set at the same amount, because this actually kind of does matter, believe it or not. There we go. Right, so if I add some fuel in here, again, I'll give them all the same amount of fuel, like so, and we'll see just how much difference it makes towards your fuel efficiency. If I go boop, 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 you can see, like, that one goes up to the stopper immediately, and it really, I mean, these ones don't. So we have lost a considerable amount of thrust from pulsing the engines. Like, if I put it up one there, and up one there, and up one there, that one does lift itself, but I mean, look, oh, that one's run out of fuel already. It's really inconsistent. Like, it's quite high now, and then it'll just go punk onto the bottom. These didn't lift themselves at all. If I just wait until they all run out of fuel, like so, I'm going to have to turn them off quick. You have to turn these three off and that one on, because that's what pauses this circuit. If I put these up to... Oops, that was too much. Up to a level that actually allows them to get some kind of lift. It's 2 levels below this one. So again, we can test to see... Hey, damn you, game. Yeah, we can test to see just how much difference it makes. Again, don't take this too seriously. This is mostly just me messing with things to see what works and what doesn't. So they've all got the same amount of fuel. These 3 are 2 levels more powerful than this one, which isn't pulsing. So if I go boop, 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 boop. There we go. I mean, this one on the end, which is off a lot more than these 2. I think, like, that one's off for 4 ticks, and that one's... That's not really how it works, but that's 3. This one's off for, I think, 15, which is why it's bobbing up and down. But if you look at it, look. The pulsing one... Oh, this one actually didn't fall. That's not happened before. Let me see if I can boop it loose. Boop! There we go. But yeah, this one fell, and then that one, and then that one. But I turned them on, that one, then that one, then that one. So they're just falling in order that I turned them on. It doesn't make any difference. And then this one ran out shortly after they did, because they're on a higher level, they're using more fuel. So what did I learn from all this? Very little, to be honest. Again, like I was saying, I'm just messing about. But I did learn that pulsing your thrusters does save fuel at the cost of thrust with 2 Fs. And the extra thrust that you need to add completely negates the fuel efficiency you get from pulsing them. Is it worth it? Maybe. Probably not. Considering the extra weight and whatnot you're adding to a flying device in order to do this, plus the extra thrust you need to get the same amount of power from them, it completely undoes any fuel efficiency that you might gain from doing it in the first place. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing so far in this update. I'm going to leave that there. It's a fairly short video, but I did get a request for a creative mode video in Scrap Mechanic, and I wanted to, oblige that commenter, so thank you very much for the suggestion. And also maybe sort of almost kind of, but not really learnt something along the way. So like and subscribe if you haven't already done that, and I will be returning Monday for Raft. I've got things to make in Raft. I've got to go and fund some of that titanium stuff, which is going to be fun. And yeah, that's what I'll be doing Monday. I will see you then.